Hi, and welcome to another edition of Jet Setting. Paul Friesen from the Winnipeg Sun here with Scott Billeck joining me, NHL trade deadline edition. Scott, the Jets waited to the last minute. Kevin
Literally.
Cheveldayoff making a deal for, literally, yeah, making a
Literally.
deal for defenseman Jordie Benn from Vancouver. Maybe we didn't expect an interdivision trade, but we got one. Um, it's a small pickings, a bit move, an edge around the edges move compared to what some of the other contenders in the North Division have done. How do you see it compared to the Leafs and Habs, for instance?
Well, I mean, compared to Leafs and Habs, it's probably it's a bit of a failure, I would say. I mean, I don't know if that's a strong word or too strong of a word, but the Jets didn't keep, with other teams, all three of the teams. I mean, Edmonton gets, former Jet Dmitry Kulikov, who's had a strong year in New Jersey. So that's kind of, that was a good addition for a
I
team
see
that
that as a
needed one.
similar move to this, though. I don't
Yeah,
see that as a
well,
whole
he's
lot
going to play
bigger
though,
move.
Kulikov, and I think that's part of the
Okay,
difference between him and Ben. Like, I don't see Jamie Benn playing right off the bat here. And
right.
he's probably the seventh defenseman. The Jets had two boxes to tick off during this trade deadline. They wanted a depth defenseman, obviously, but they also wanted that top four defenseman. Kevin Cheveldayoff said they took a couple big swings. They missed, strike one, strike two, and now, strike three. They're out of it, and they don't get that guy that they wanted. And
Yeah.
Toronto gets Ben Hutton on D, but they get Nick Foligno and Stefan Noesen on forward, David Rittich to cover off their goaltending issues surrounding Frederik Andersen. Teams are the teams in the North around them, Montreal too, Eric Stahl. They got some guys as well. I mean, they're loading up. The Jets are kind of banking a little bit here on potentially Ville Heinola. I didn't really, I don't. Again, if Jordie Benn's not going to play, is Ville Heinola going to play? Is Ville Heinola the seventh D man? Is Ben? I don't know. I think that's it's not enough, right? I mean, and I
Yeah.
asked Kevin Cheveldayoff, do you think that your team is, your defensive corps at least, is a Stanley Cup contender? And he didn't really answer the
Right.
question. So
Mhm.
to me, if I'm going to read between the lines as much as I can here, Kevin Cheveldayoff was willing to part with some things, but not the things that were necessary to get a top four guy like David Savard, potentially a Matthias Ekholm, if he would have been available. But any kind of top four D man, even a Josh Manson perhaps, any potential top four guy, it seems very unlikely that Kevin Cheveldayoff was willing to part with a Dylan Sandberg or a Ville Heinola or even a Cole Perfetti. I think he would have given up
Right.
that first round pick without issue. But when it comes to some of those guys that he's drafted, the guys that he's had his kind of, I suppose, personal touch in scouting and all that
Yeah.
stuff, he's very reluctant to give away those pieces.
Sure.
And it just,
Well,
I don't think he was willing to sabotage or sacrifice future for this season. And so that's kind of where I see it. It's a tough
yeah.
one because I think
So it
fans are
sends a
going to look at
message.
this. Does it? I mean,
Right.
what kind of message does it send? I mean,
To me, it sends a message short of "we're all in." Now, maybe he
right?
tried. Okay, maybe he tried to send a
Yeah,
message of "we're all in." It sounds like he did some big swings, as you said. But the message it does send, then you're right. We're not going to sacrifice the future for this group. So
hmm
that's a little short of being all in.
I
He
agree.
did say he did say we're sticking together. We're keeping this group together. We believe in you is the message. But acquiring someone at the deadline doesn't mean you don't believe.
No,
The last three deadlines he acquired a number two center because that's what they needed. They didn't need that this year, and he pointed that out that he made a big trade earlier this season to improve the team in line for Pierre-Luc Dubois.
yep,
And that has turned out, stick taps to him for that. That's turned out well. Teams in second, fighting for second place.
sure.
But the hole now is on D, and he didn't fill
And
it.
it always
So
was on D, right? The
it always
whole,
has.
I mean, it has been at second line center too, especially with Brian Little out, obviously. But that
That's
hole
filled.
has been on D ever since they lost the whole right side of the defense 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get it. I understand where he's coming from on that. Yeah, Pierre-Luc, a great addition on forward, We get that. That's one pat on the back. But the second one comes when you get that second, that top four defenseman. You can say all you
Mm.
want, you're going into it and you can believe and all that stuff, but they didn't get the guy that many figured they needed, and they were targeting. I mean, the reports were out there that the Jets were in on David Savard. What was the hold up? What was the hiccup there for the team, and why didn't that trigger get
The
pulled?
price.
And
Probably
maybe
the
it was
price.
price, but then again, if you, at what point are you going to pull the trigger and just go for it? I mean, they did that, some would suggest, in 2017-18, but that shows to me that's what it takes to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't work. I mean, we can look at the Kevin Hayes deal on that one. It doesn't pan out, but
No.
you only know it doesn't pan out if you actually take the shot. You're not gonna,
Right.
you don't score goals on shots you don't take, and so I just
I'm not
didn't.
sure. I'm not sure I would have traded a Ville Heinola or a Dylan Sandberg, because
I
I'd be
think
kind of
was off bounds, but yes, I
yeah,
think Sandberg was in play.
yeah.
I don't
Okay.
know. I mean, what's the thing? You're 10 years into
Interesting.
your tenureship as a GM in this town, and
Yeah.
you've won 2 playoff series. At what
Yep.
point do you have to go all in, and do something to get a result, right?
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
that's the question.
That's the question. That is the question.
So,
The Jets did get some good news today on the injury front, I guess you'd say. Captain Blake Wheeler
yeah.
skated for the second straight day, and no setbacks in his attempts to recover from a concussion. Now, he won't make the road trip. We're told he won't join the team at all in this the last 3 games here. This trip, no surprise there.
Yeah.
But he could play as soon as the Jets get back to Winnipeg for a game against Edmonton on Saturday. Do you see it being that soon, or I guess it'll depend on the doctors and Blake?
Yeah, I think that's first and foremost. It depends on the doctors, how Blake obviously does over the next few days here, the next week really. It's only Monday, before he would be in the mix for Saturday. I think it also too probably depends a little bit where you're in the standings, right? I mean, if Toronto falters and you have a chance to move into first place, or if create some separation in that second spot, then maybe Blake does play. I think if Blake Wheeler is ready to play, regardless if they have 3 days off after the Edmonton game or not, I think Blake Wheeler plays. He's the type of guy that Paul Maurice will put into the lineup.
As soon as he's ready.
As soon as he's ready. Exactly, right? And concussions are sort of that kind of, I don't want to say they're cut and dry. I mean, because that's not always the case with concussions.
No.
But once you're cleared, I mean, if you're cleared for contact.
You're cleared.
I think the problem becomes, where is Blake going to get that contact in, right? I mean, there's nobody here right now, to give him that contact. So that would be the only kind of hiccup that I would see along this. And the first time the Jets will probably have a full practice, because they're not going to practice Friday after, it's obviously a travel day. They're not going to practice on Friday after playing back to back and have to travel. So, the first practice that they get might not be till Tuesday if they get Sunday off after the game, or sorry, Monday then, and Monday and Tuesday perhaps, depending how they do it. So maybe he has to wait. Maybe he can't play just because they can't get that contact in.
That's a good point, because you're right. Very few opportunities for contact, and you're not going to do that in the morning skate.
No, I mean,
They have
not, yeah.
a game.
But even if he does it in the morning skate, usually it's one of those things where you want to wait that day overnight, make sure he wakes up with no issues as well, right? We've seen that a lot in the past. So it'll just, again, it'll depend what they can do here, what kind of, creative things they could do to maybe do that. But I don't know how they're going to do it yet.
Yeah, I don't know how you get creative with a concussion either. But after that Edmonton game, then on Saturday, they do have 3 days off. Like you say, there'll be an opportunity for a practice there, full contact, and then 3 against Toronto at home. So that is likely when we'll see him, assuming all goes well without a bump. And that's also probably when Jordie Benn first becomes available for a Jets game, because we believe it's a 7-day quarantine, province to province.
I believe so, yeah.
So that takes him into that 3-game set against Toronto as well, as far as being available. And of course, that'll depend on how the Jets are doing and whether there's a healthy blue line, right?
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, I think more or less it's going to be the healthy blue line more than anything.
Well,
unless
if you're
the
losing
Jets,
though and someone's
sure,
you're losing and someone's struggling,
yeah, if the Jets
let's
are
say
coming into
let's say
this on
Logan
a
Stanley
4-game
started,
losing streak,
you know,
right? I mean, if the Jets lose their next 3 games on this road trip to close it out and lose the Edmonton game, yeah, I mean, potentially there is a problem there, and they have to, make a shakeup and that sort of thing. Sure. I just
sure.
don't see who he comes out for. I mean, are you taking Tucker Pullman off the top pairing right out of the lineup? I don't know. Are you taking Derek Forbert, who's been a part of the one defensive pairing they've counted on? And is it Logan Stanley? I don't think so either.
It,
I mean, how
if
do
you're
you,
losing, it's whoever's struggling. If Logan
of
Stanley
course,
starts making
well,
rookie mistakes,
to a point, right? I mean, how many times have you seen Logan Stanley struggle this year? Very few,
he
in
hasn't.
my mind, right? I mean,
Yeah,
but we've
no,
seen
he's been
Josh
solid.
Morrissey struggle for half a season, right?
Yeah.
Even more than that,
I,
and he's not coming
I
out.
get the sense this will take care of itself. I mean,
Yeah,
you're not going to stay healthy.
it always does. Yeah, yeah.
It tends to work itself out. And if they stay healthy and keep winning, well, they won't complain about that. So,
Right. Yeah.
all right. Anything else we should touch on?
No, that's probably good for today.
All right.
Big
All
day.
right.
Not so big
Thanks
of a
for
day, I
watching.
suppose.
No, a small day.
Yeah.
You're right.
There's still a game
deadline
today.
day compared to the last 3 years, anyway, where they've made a swing and connected. Today, it's a swing and a miss. So, all right, Scott. Thanks for Paul Friesen, Scott Billeck. Thanks for watching Jet Setting.